Hello guys, thank you again for tuning in to my channel. This is Anthony and this is Spirituality Revealed with Anthony. I do hope that you have been enjoying the videos that I've been putting out, and I do take this time to thank you again for tuning in to watch this particular video. And today I would like us to venture into a topic that involves money and wealth. Okay, so I just want us to go briefly into the concept of money, just to try and understand money, wealth, what's the difference, how does it impact our life, how do we get to use it in the correct manner, what is the spiritual aspect to it, what is the biblical interpretation of it, and all that. Okay, because money is a very sensitive topic, and in our physical lives, more than 90% of our needs are met through money. So there is a verse that says, money answereth all things. So more than 90% of your needs are answered by money. So it is something that you cannot afford to ignore. But how do you get to understand it so that you can optimize on it and not be drawn to it lustfully to an extent that you become a slave to it, but rather you understand how to get a hold of it, you understand how to be in charge of it, and you understand how to use it the way it was designed to be used so that it can benefit you as an individual. Okay, so tune in for the rest of the video as we discuss this topic of money. Thank you again for tuning in, guys, and as I mentioned just previously, we are going to look at money versus wealth. And the reason why I am very keen to study a bit about money and wealth, it's because this is a very sensitive topic, because we need money to survive on this earth. In the realm that we exist in, money answereth all things. Money is the only thing that Jesus compared to, that you cannot serve Mammon, which is the god of money, and you cannot serve Jesus. So you either choose between the two. So this is the only thing that God compared. God did not even compare Satan to himself, because Satan is already defeated. But just to show you how powerful money is, Jesus compared Mammon to himself. Like, this money is such a powerful tool that it can impact, okay, your relationship with God. It can affect that you have to choose between the two. So it requires a bit of wisdom to understand how to use money, how to make proper use of it without it getting into your head, without you becoming a slave of it, without you being drawn into it, that lustfully or through lust you are not able to control your appetite for money. Okay, and like many of us, I would presumptuously assume we have grown up in environments where no one has taken the time to teach us about money, and so money is a topic that you grow up wanting to know, but you don't have the knowledge about. So most people, the way they enter into money, it's a system of trial and error until you find what works in a specific environment, and then you apply it in your life. So many people play mix and match with money because we have not received enlightenment on money, its use and its function in our lives. Okay, and now even depending with the background that you grew up with or you grew up in, because if you grew up in an environment that there was lack of money, it's subconsciously in you that every amount of money that you access, your first instinct will be to hold it, because there is a subconscious fear in you that money is going to run out. So a person, and not in a bad way, because most of us have been in this place, a person with this sort of mentality will never see money as enough. This person will always feel comfortable if they hold money for the fear that it will run out. This person always sees the lack of it. This person does not see the positive side of money. He always sees what if something negative happens. So you see, this is a concept that is enshrined in you that needs to be corrected, because with this mentality you can never make any progress. You are going to live a simplistic life that always sees the negative. It always anticipates the negatives in life. Okay, and so you're never going to use money to generate what it's supposed to generate because of the background that you grew up in. So in order to correct all these things in our different backgrounds and upbringings and all this, we have to understand what is money and what is wealth, what they symbolize in our life, how are they interpreted spiritually through scriptures, and how are we supposed to get a hold of it, use it in the proper and efficient way without it manipulating us and us becoming slaves to it. Okay, so just follow me as we go through this brief video. We try to see a few things about money and wealth. Okay, so first of all, just the general definition of money. And money is a medium of exchange which symbolizes a perceived value of something. So it is a medium of exchange. Okay, so let me just take us back a bit. And in the olden days, let's say you had a commodity, you had a cow. I wanted your cow and I have maize. Okay, or I have beans or potatoes or anything. So I would exchange my sack of potatoes for your cow. Okay, but with time this became bulky and this could no longer be sustainable. Okay, and so because the measure of value of your cow, I would give you an equivalent measure of potato sacks, and then we would exchange the value. So yes, I am taking your cow, you're taking the potatoes, but we are exchanging an equal value or an equal measure of value between us. Okay, so people understood, or there was a revelation that gold carried more value. Okay, so people started taking gold or holding gold as a measure of value of the wealth that you carry as a person. Okay, so gold started to become the store of value. But you see, I have my gold, you have your gold. I cannot carry gold everywhere because I have gold. I need to exchange it to buy something else. And so carrying gold became bulky, because when you see the gold bars, they are really heavy if you've ever touched it. So people found a substitute that would carry an equivalent representation of the value of the gold, which is more portable, which is more divisible, which is more light, okay, which is more acceptable, if I can use the word. And so people began to use money to represent the value that is stored in the gold. So let's say if I have gold equivalent with the equivalent value of $1 million, then instead of this gold, I take my gold to a reserve bank for a particular country, and then they give me $1 million equivalent of money worth the gold that I have given. So the reserve bank became the place where the gold in a particular country was stored, and the more bars of gold any particular country would have signified the wealthy or the wealthiness of the particular country. So the wealth of countries began to be measured by the amount of gold bars that were stored in the reserve banks for the particular countries. And then now the government introduced something called a legal tender. A legal tender is a paper that is written amount, okay, with a figure, and then this figure has the stamp or the seal of the government and has a signature of the person who is in charge of the reserve bank that you took your gold. So this person in the reserve bank has authorized you to use this currency, okay, which is now money given to you to represent the amount of wealth that you have, or the value that you have as a person, which is represented by the gold that you gave them to store for you. So now they give you money in equivalent value that you can use in the economy or in the society to buy whatever thing that you want to buy. I'm just giving you a background of where money came from. So in the beginning, money used to represent an actual value of gold that was stored somewhere. Okay? And then, okay, certain people within the reserve banks of America and England decided to start producing more money. Remember, at first, money used to represent a certain value of gold that was held in the reserve. So now they have the gold that they have, but now they start to produce money without any subsequent or any corresponding amount of gold that is being brought to represent the money that they are printing. So what happens? You are now producing more money than the actual value of gold that is stored, that you're supposed to have equivalent to the money. So when they started printing this, and then they enforced a rule that now the dollar would be used to measure every subsequent currency in the world. And what is a fiat currency? A fiat currency, what I'm calling a currency, it is a currency authorized by government that has no intrinsic value backing it. So there was something that was introduced called a fiat currency. So this is currency that is authorized by government but has no intrinsic value backing it up. So what am I saying? These men who were in charge of these reserve banks where the gold was being stored, then you're given an equivalent amount of money, started producing more money than the amount of gold that they had. And every government started copying this trend of producing money because it is approved by the government, it has the seal of the government and the stamp or the signature of the governor of the central bank, who is the person who holds the managerial position of that reserve bank. So it has the government approval, so you can use it to do anything. But now they are producing more money than the actual amount of gold that it is, or the amount of gold that they have as a country. So this is what we call now fiat currency. And fiat currency are just like, for example, the American dollar is a fiat currency, the Kenyan shilling, you could take the pound, all these, the Swiss franc, all these are fiat currencies. And all these currencies, because the government started producing more money than the value of gold that they actually had in the banks, it means they are not backed by anything. They do not have any intrinsic value. Okay? This money is just backed by the faith that it is produced and printed by the government and authorized. Okay? Because all the amount of the gold in the world, it's about 244,000 metric tons. That is the that is the amount of gold that has been presently being discovered until today. You can go and check it out in the internet. Go and do your research. That is all the amount of gold that is in the world that has been discovered up until today. 244,000 metric tons. Okay? That is the size of a football pitch, the length of it, okay, and the length of it going up, the length of it going up, and the length of it of a football pitch. That is the whole amount of gold. So the length of a football pitch going on the length and then the height, okay. So it's when the football pitch and then the length going up, and then that is the size of gold or the amount of gold that exists in the world. So the money that is existing in the world does not have value backing it up. You get? So now that is why the money is dependent on faith. Like, there are certain people who went against what was supposed to be the use of money. It was supposed to represent a certain value of gold, but now government started producing more money, and that is why we have something called inflation, because when you produce money without anything to back it up, so the whole economy has to find a way of absorbing that money. Okay? It's like this is a sponge. When you pour more water to the sponge has to find a way to absorb all this water. So when the sponge absorbs water, it becomes bigger. So that is what happens. When the government produces more money, the economy has to find a way to absorb all this money, because there is nothing in the economy equivalent to the money that has been produced. Like, for you to introduce money, there needs to be something or an equivalent value from where that money has come from, so that it can be absorbed seamlessly into an environment or an economy. But because this money has been printed with nothing backing it, so the economy has to be stretched to absorb it, and that is why we have inflation. That is why prices of things rise, because whatever is in the economy at that moment has to expand to accommodate this money or excess money that has been printed. So when you look at the American dollar from when it was printed to now, the American dollar has lost more than 90% of its value, because it's not backed by anything. It was backed by gold, but they kept on producing more money, and now it's backed by nothing. That's why it's written in the back, in God we trust. Okay, so the currency that we have is backed by faith, nothing else. So if you have an $100, if you have an $100 note, its actual value, its real value, it's $10. Yeah, because it has lost more than 90% of its value, because there is nothing backing it up. Okay, so there's a reason why I'm introducing this, so that you understand why it is very bad to chase money, because the money you are chasing is not backed by anything. That is why you have inflation. That is why things happen and then the dollar collapses, or your local currency either appreciates or depreciates. Why? Because it is not backed by anything. And so when this dollar that is not backed by anything is affected, then these prices come and affect your country or your local currency. So if you're holding money and something happens to the dollar, then it loses value. So what am I getting to? Your main focus should not be on following money. And the Bible tells us that the love for money is evil. Okay? Money is not evil. The love of it, because you have an overly obsessive need to want to possess money, and the money you're possessing is not backed by anything. So when it collapses, it's going to mess you up. Okay? And one thing you're supposed to know, money does not store wealth these days. Money is just a vehicle to transfer wealth. I need you to get this point clearly. Money does not store wealth. It's a vehicle to transfer wealth. So when you chase money, and this is why you find the people who chase money, they never really get the money they are chasing. They are always chasing after money. Why? Because money is a vehicle to transfer wealth from point A to point B. Remember, initially it used to be a store of value, but now money is not backed by anything. So if I have wealth and I want to transfer to you, I will use money as a vehicle to get my wealth from this point to that point. And so every wealthy person knows this, that you don't store money. You use money to gain wealth. And what is wealth? Wealth are feasible, tangible assets. This is what we call real assets. Land, buildings, okay? Tangible assets, businesses. That is why you find people, you can store $1 billion today. I told you the dollar is not backed by anything except by faith, because the governments have overproduced it. So it's a fiat currency. Nothing is backing it up. So you stored your dollars, and then tomorrow the dollar depreciates, and then your $1 billion drops to around 750 million. So you've lost $250,000 by a single move. And if you would have invested in real estate or assets, that value would not depreciate. So wealthy people do not chase after money, they chase after wealth. Only the poor people or people with no knowledge of money chase after money. Because money, you cannot chase after money. Money is a vehicle to transfer wealth from point A to point B. So if your focus is not on the wealth that is supposed to be transferred, on the wealth that is supposed to be gained, your focus is on the money. It's as if you're chasing the vehicle, and that is why you will never find money, because the more you chase it, the more it runs away from you. Okay? You can't chase a vehicle. Money, it's a vehicle. Okay? And I'd like us to go to Genesis chapter 47 verse 15 just briefly. Genesis chapter 47, because there is a verse, I'll put it here. Nothing is new under the sun. All that is happening has already happened before in this world. So there's nothing new that we are doing. There's nothing new that we're introducing. All these things have happened in one context or another previously. The Bible tells us there's nothing new under the sun. So Genesis 47:15. Okay? So when the money of the people of Egypt and Canaan failed, all Egypt came to Joseph and said, "Give us food. Why should we die before your eyes? Sorry. Why should we die before your eyes? Our money has failed." We see that in Egypt, people had money, but their money could not buy anything. Yet they needed food. This is to tell you that money is not the way it used to be. Money used to back up something, but it does not back up anything. So when you have an obsession to possess money, you're being fooled, you're being foolish, and that is why the devil likes it when people chase after money. Okay? If you're chasing after money, you're never going to see the big picture, because money can fail, and money fails. Just look at Zimbabwe, for instance. What happened to that country? Look at various countries in the world, because money fails. So we don't chase after money. We seek to acquire assets, seek to acquire wealth. How do you acquire wealth? Remember, there's a difference between wealth and money. Money is transactional. Money is for transferring assets, transferring wealth. Wealth, on the other hand, is generational. Wealth are a store of value that have a more permanent nature to them, and they usually appreciate in value. This includes buildings, includes businesses, includes land. These are investments that are tangible, that have a permanent attribute to them, that store value and are appreciative. So when you look at every wealthy person, they always seek to acquire assets. Why? Because that is where the actual value of wealth, that is where the actual value is stored. The value of something is not stored in money, it is stored in wealth. So when you get money, it is just an avenue for you to acquire wealth. So intelligent people, when they access money, they use it to acquire wealth. Stupid people, when they chase money, they stay with the money, and then they will lose it or it will depreciate, because money is not the store of value. Store of value is in wealth, not money. Money is a vehicle. Money is an ever-moving target. So if you're chasing at money, you will never get it, because money is a moving target. These are vehicles to transfer assets and wealth from one point to another. I need you to get this. Money failed in the Bible. It failed. And it can fail again. Look at how the economies are fluctuating at every single day. Why? because the currency that I mentioned, the fiat currencies that we are using, they are not backed by anything. Because every single day the government is continuing to print this money that is not backed by an equivalent amount of gold stored in the reserve. So when they produce more money, the economy has to absorb this money that is produced, meaning what? It has to expand in relation to the money that has been introduced. So the prices of things have to expand, the prices of services have to expand, the prices of commodities have to expand. Why? So that it can absorb this money that has been printed. Okay? So I need you to go to Deuteronomy 8:18. Deuteronomy 8:18. Deuteronomy 8:18. Okay. But remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth, and so confirms His covenant which He swore to your forefathers as today. I need you to get this very clearly. I keep on repeating. You can never be wealthy from an 8 to 5. You can never be wealthy from employment. You can never be wealthy when you are under someone. Wealth is value. You're getting assets that have value, that are generational. Okay, so you are investing in something that is supposed to help you produce or generate wealth. Okay, you're investing in assets that help you generate wealth, and the ability to produce wealth is given through God. That is why most billionaires don't become billionaires because they went to school. No. In fact, most of them have dropped out of school. But if you remember, I gave a teaching about Kairos moments and Kairos times, whereby it is an appointed time in the spirit that is allocated by God to give you a moment of elevation so that you can move from point A to point B. If you have not watched that video, kindly go and watch the video, appointed times in the spirit, because God has appointed times to elevate you in the spirit. They are called Kairos moments. If you maximize on this, you get a breakthrough that changes your life. So He might give you a business idea, and that is what most billionaires do. You find an idea or a concept that God makes available for you. You capitalize on it. It becomes revolutionary. It changes you, and it gives you access to wealth. So wealth is given by God. When you work an 8 to 5, you're going to use that to pay your bills. And that is why I told you, in order to become wealthy, you have to stop thinking like the world. You need to come out of the matrix, because 90% of the people in the world are stuck in the matrix. Your life is just a circle of doing the same exact things, expecting different results. You wake up, go to job, end month, pay bills, do this, the money is finished, start again. You do that, you spend 8 to 5. So that is majority of your day spent at work. Then let's say you start working in your late 20s or mid 20s, and then you retire 60s. So you spend majority of your life working, and majority of your days at work. So majority of your life has been spent toiling, and what you're toiling is not even enough to give you wealth. So your capacity or your potential, you're bribed with a salary to forfeit your potential to generate wealth that God has provided for you in the disguise of a salary that you cannot use to make wealth. Because most people, whatever they live after they die, it cannot precede or it cannot go beyond the immediate generation that they are leaving behind. Why? Because that is not wealth. Wealth is transgenerational, and you cannot get wealth from a job, from working a job. Wealth comes from the Lord. The ability to produce wealth comes from God. You have to be guided from God. So wealth requires intervention of spirits to acquire it, and God is spirit, because wealth requires a certain set of knowledge, a certain wisdom that is not earthly. It requires a certain set of eyes that transcend our carnal eyes, a sort of spiritual eyes that gives you an idea that is transcendent, that can offer results that are beyond your generation. So wealth requires the intervention of spirits for you to acquire. Consider God is spirit. Okay? Again, the Kairos moments, what I told you. So you cannot use your human intellect to create wealth. And again, this is why I also gave you a teaching about meditation. Why we meditate. When you meditate, God puts the idea in your mind and then you get the mental image. I taught about meditation. Meditation is simply accessing that transgenerational idea that God has availed for you to create wealth. Because I have told you that, or the Bible has told us, wealth comes from the Lord. And God does not drop money on your lap. He gives you an idea. He gives you a business idea. He connects you with people who are able to place you in places where you're able to generate wealth. Okay? And so meditation gives you an access to the mind of God, into the spiritual realm, where you are able to access certain ideas that are transgenerational, that are able to work, okay, even in the absence of yourself, to have a continuous effect, so that even when you're gone, your bloodline will not suffer. That is what we call wealth. Okay? And remember, the devil also, because he's called the God of this world, he has his ways, because he understands the functioning of this world, he has his ways of giving people the resemblance of wealth. Because he's the God of this world. To those people who have not yet accessed the authority in Christ and exercise it, the devil is your God. Okay? By God I mean you are under the devil, because if you're not under Christ, you have not yet taken your authority. So it means your reality in this world is controlled by the devil. He has the playing cards in your life. The only way you can have your life back is if you have taken back your authority. And you can only take back your authority if you have accepted Christ in your life. So there's no other shortcut. That's why I'm saying that. So wealth is generational and money is temporal. This is a very big distinction we have to make. Wealth is generational. The money that most people are chasing after, people call it running after the bag. I don't know, chasing the bag and all that. That is temporal. And most people who do that, you will never find it. You will spend your whole life chasing after it, and then when now you're old, it dawns to you that I've been doing it all wrong. Okay? So I'd like us to go to 1 Timothy 6:10. 1 Timothy 6:10. 1 Timothy 6:10. So people want, okay, let's start at verse 9. People who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap, and into many foolish and harmful desires. They're talking about rich, not wealthy. There's a difference between rich and wealthy. The wealthy feed the rich. Okay? Let me give you an example of rich. You didn't have money, you stumble upon a jackpot, you get 2 million, you are rich. That is not wealth. You have come into an unexpected amount of money in your life. That is not wealthy. I told you wealth is transgenerational. Rich people, because they are not used to that status, when they get access to money, they want to show it to others that you have gotten access to this, because it is not something they are prepared for, and that is why they waste this money buying flashy things and buying things that cannot generate wealth, because they are blinded to the truth of what wealth is. Okay? So, and the devil traps many people with this concept of getting rich, because rich is temporal. Anyway, let's continue. 6 verse 9. People who want to get rich, again, rich, not wealthy. People who want to get rich fall into temptation. Okay? So the devil is able, when you have the desire, the lust to get rich, the devil is able to tempt you very fast. You are an easy bait, because you are seeking after riches. People who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap, and into many foolish and harmful desires. people who want to get rich fall into temptation. So you're easily tempted because you're lasting after riches, and a trap. So there are many traps that the devil uses to lure you into this, including selling your soul to him, and into many foolish. Foolish is blowing up all the money that you have gotten to go to escapades and holidays and harmful desires that plunge men into ruin and destruction. Okay? So when you get access to money that you have not meditated about, to know what you're going to do with it, you're most likely going to fall into destruction. I taught this in my video about meditation. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. The love of money. So money is not bad if you know what you're accessing it to do. If you are accessing money to gain wealth, money is not evil. If you are accessing money to get your needs, no problem. If you are lusting after money, the love of it is the root of all evil. Because what you're doing ideally, you are chasing after money. You're not chasing after the need that money satisfies. There's a difference between someone who is chasing after money and someone who knows that I have a need, and this need can only be satisfied by money. So this person who understands the need, when they get money, they're solving a need. The one who loves money, who is chasing after money, gets the money and then is confused with what to do with the money. That is why they hoard the money, they stay with it, and they end up wasting, because they had not meditated upon what they would use this money for. Okay? And as I had said previously, money comes to test your wisdom. If you are not a master over money, it will be your master and you will become its slave. Money comes to test your wisdom. There are certain people that, I don't know if you have these people in your life. You've seen people come into great amount of money and they always squander it. People get access to opportunities, they squander it continuously. They get money, they use it, they blow it. They get money, they want to start this business, they blow it. So there's a continuous pattern of wasting money, projects that are continuously failing. There's a continuous, why? Because this person does not have wisdom when it comes to the use of money. They have not meditated upon what this money is for, how I am going to generate wealth out of this money. So when they get this money, they copy what others are doing and they expect it to work. So money comes to test your wisdom. You need to have accessed help from God through meditation. You access the mental images that give you your wealth idea. God, the Bible has told us wealth comes from God. So God is the one who gives you the idea that will generate wealth. So even if you have access to money without the idea that is going to give you wealth, you're going to blow that money. And I've said money comes to test your wisdom. Money comes to test your wisdom. So when you see someone who continuously squanders money, this person does not have wisdom when it comes to money. Okay? So Matthew 6:24. Matthew 6:24. Matthew 6:24. No one can serve two masters. Either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. You cannot serve both God and money. Again, back to the point. If you don't understand the reason as to why you want money, you're going to worship money. You're going to chase the bag. You're going to follow money. And this is going to distract you from God, because remember, God comes first. God has the first priority in your life, because He is the one to give you the wisdom to create wealth. So when you're chasing after money without God, your life will never make sense. How many people do you know have money and have very unhappy families? They have money. and their soul is not at peace. How many people you know have money and they're living a very miserable life? Why? Because you cannot serve two masters. And there is one thing that God gives you, which is eternal peace. I spoke about this some time back. If you have not embraced Christ, I don't know how I can explain it to you, but there is a peace that God gives you because He introduces your mind. He expands your vision to see past this world, to have access to eternal life, to see even the world to come. He gives you a glimpse of that, and that gives your heart rest. You find a certain peace with God that, yes, I want to live the best life while I'm here, but I'm not going to chase after these things. It will find me while I'm in obedience to you. Your life, your perception of life is different from a person who is chasing money, because this person does not have the concept of life, does not have the vision that you have been given by God. The longevity of his life is only limited to his existence on this earth. And that is why there are certain people who are just constantly chasing after things, because they only see life to the extent of this world. But God gives you a certain peace that transcends that. Okay? And that is why you cannot serve God and money. You serve God, God gives you wisdom, and now when you're seeking after money, you're not lasting after it. You're seeking after money to fulfill a particular need. Whether you're acquiring wealth, whether you want to buy something, but you are not lasting after the money. The money is just a vehicle to help you acquire something X, Y, Z. So money to you is a vehicle to get you to that place so that you can get whatever you want to fulfill a particular need. You are not chasing the vehicle itself. You are using it as a vehicle to get you to point Y, to acquire thing X, to use it in your life. So when you want land, when you see money, you do not see money, you are seeing land. When you want to open a business, when you see like $20 million, you're not seeing the 20 million, you're seeing the business. That's different from a person who is lasting because they only see the 20 million in my account. And then because they have not meditated, they do not even compose themselves to see what they can use the money for. And that is what the devil wants, because he can manipulate you to make blunder after blunder, wrong decisions after wrong decisions, He will lure you with lust and temptation and all these vices and things that entangle you in a web that you cannot come out. Okay, I'd like us to go to Ecclesiastes 10 verse 19. Ecclesiastes 10 verse 19. Ecclesiastes 10 verse 19. I just want us to go briefly through money. Today I'm not going to go extensively because it's the first time that we are dealing with this topic. So 10 verse 19. Okay. A feast is made for laughter, and wine makes life merry, but money is the answer, or money answereth all things. Money answereth all things. So the reason why I gave you this verse, I want to break it down in two bits. So money answereth all things, meaning it can solve your problems. Money can solve all your physical problems. Not your spiritual, your physical. So that is one understanding of money answereth all things. Okay, number two. This is now the spiritual aspect of this verse. It says, money answereth all things. So money hears and responds to whoever commands it. So before using money, we have to establish two positions, two roles. There's one person who's going to become a slave, and there's one person who's going to become a master. You do not become a master of money if you do not have authority over money spiritually. Your position as a master is established in the spirit realm for you to command money, because money answereth all things. This means money has ears. Money hears and it responds to whoever commands it. You do not command money physically, you command it spiritually. That is why people speak over money. People speak over their businesses. Why? you have the spiritual maturity to command money in the spiritual realm. And whatever is commanded in the spiritual realm will manifest in the physical. Have you not heard people talking about my business will succeed? I will go international. I am going to expand. I will go global. Okay? I will multiply this business tenfold. I'm going to make profit 100-fold. Okay? And it happens that way. Why? Because this person has the spiritual authority. This person has an understanding that authority is given spiritually. So when you have your spiritual authority, you speak to money, it will hear you, it will respond. So that person has become a master over money. And these people, they do not chase after money. Money comes to them by virtue of the money understands this person is my master. This person understands how to use me. So I'm going to respond to him. There are certain people who never lose. Have you seen some billionaires? These people that just have access to money. He gets it. He develops something, and money is just ever present for them to use. Even if they give it away, how many millions does Bill Gates give away? But how many or how much money does he continuously have access to? So speaking to money spiritually gives you command over it, mastery over it. On the other hand, if you are carnal, if you're not a spiritual person, you're going to chase after money. And now this money becomes your master, you're the slave. And the more you run after money, the more it will run away from you. Money does not like people who run after it. You command it, it comes to you. Because money is a spiritual entity. There's what we call Mammon, the god of money. So if there's a god of money, it means money is a spiritual entity. So if you don't run after money, we command money. The people who run after money, money runs away from you faster than you are running after it. Okay? So you have to establish between these two, who is the slave and who is the master. Because at the end of the day, the slave is going to control, and the master is going to control the slave. So between you and money, in your relationship, in your life, who is the master, who is the slave? Okay? So Proverbs chapter 3 verse 16. 3 verse 16. Okay, so here we're talking about wisdom. Okay? Long life is in her right hand. This is wisdom. In her left hand are riches and honor. Her ways are pleasant ways, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those who embrace her. Those who lay hold of her will be blessed. Okay, so we see here that wisdom brings long life and wealth and honor. I told you before, money comes to test your wisdom. The Bible is telling you wisdom in her right hand. Let me see it again. Long life, when you are wise, when you have access to godly wisdom. So in your right hand, you're going to possess long life. In your left hand, you are going to have wealth and honor. So wisdom, godly wisdom, gives you long life, wealth, and honor. So when I say money comes to test your wisdom, it is because wealth, it is a product of wisdom that is given to you by God. Remember, God gives us the ability to produce wealth. How do you get the ability to produce wealth? By accessing the wisdom of God. So, when Deuteronomy tells us that the ability to produce wealth is given by God, it means God gives you wisdom. And with wisdom in you, you are given long life in her right hand. In her left hand is wealth and honor. That is why when money comes, it comes to test this wisdom that has been given to you. And if you have the wisdom from God, it means you can take the money that has come to you, convert it to make this wealth that the Bible is telling you is given in your left hand. I don't know if I'm making sense. Ability to produce wealth is given by God. Deuteronomy has told us that. Proverbs is telling us that wisdom has long life in her right hand, wealth and honor in her left hand. Then I gave the analogy that money comes to test your wisdom. So money comes to test what has been given to you by God. Okay, your wisdom on how to convert the money into wealth. Because when you have wisdom, you have wealth in your left hand. So if you don't have the wisdom, the godly wisdom, you will not know what to do with money. So you cannot create it to wealth. So when money comes into your hands, you're going to squander it because you lack the wisdom. Okay, so money is attracted to those with the wisdom to use it. Money is attracted with those with the wisdom to use it. Okay, and the last verse I would like us to go through is Joshua 1 verse 8. You can go through it at your own time, where we talked about meditation. I did a video specifically on meditation. Kindly go through that video. It will explain a lot of things clearly. But what I would summarize is, if you have not seen or meditated on how to use money, it will not come to you. And if it comes to you by chance, you will squander it. Because Joshua tells us, meditate upon this word day and night. The word of God gives you wisdom. The word of God, when you meditate upon it, it gives you the mental images. Okay, this is now the insight in how you're going to exploit and make use of that money to produce wealth. So the more you meditate on the word of God, the more God gives you access into ideas that you can use to convert the money that you're going to come into to wealth. So you need to meditate to get the mental images. The mental images that you see in the spiritual realm are going to guide you in the place you're going to invest in, so that you are able to convert the money that comes into your hands into wealth. So if you have not sat down and meditated on how to use money, you will not get access to money. And if you get access to that money by any chance, you cannot convert it to wealth. Why? Because Joshua 1 verse 8 tells us, we see to do. Okay? Meditate upon these words day and night. Okay? That you may observe to do. You may observe in the spiritual realm to do in the physical. So in order for you to have a business that is working in the physical, you need to observe it in the spiritual realm through meditation, so that you can do it in the physical. So if you have not seen in the spiritual realm how to use that money, when it comes to you, you will not know what to do with it. That is why you squander, because you are going to do this part, which is to do, without the subsequent initial part, which is observing. So you cannot do what you have not observed, because you need the guidance from the spiritual to inform you and to direct you on what to do, because the spiritual eyes have a deeper foresight that you do not possess with your carnal instinct. Okay, and that is how a spiritual person is supposed to transcend and make wealth, so that you do not chase after money, but you're chasing after wealth. So in short, money is a vehicle for you to access wealth. We do not chase after money, we chase after wealth. And when you're chasing after wealth, it means when money comes to you, your end goal is wealth. And when you get wealth, it is transgenerational, so it will outlive you. Okay, I think that's a brilliant place to stop. I just wanted us to have a brief understanding of money and wealth, and just some basic concepts and tenets in the Bible. And I hope that this has been helpful to you who is watching. And yes, at a later point, I think we'll continue to delve into this topic of money and wealth and see where it takes us. Okay. Today I had to wear official because we're speaking about money, and it's a very serious topic, and yeah, I hope you do take it seriously also. Okay, so like, share and subscribe. See you in the next video. Thank you.